The Green Party pledges swathes of nationalism and NHS surge in manifesto dubbed amateur hour by one critic. We're going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Byline Times with the headline of "The Green Party pledges swathes of nationalisation and NHS surge in a manifesto dubbed amateur hour by one critic." The Green Party has unveiled a manifesto that promises to bring water companies, the big five retail energy firms and the rail network into public ownership, position the party significantly to the left of Labour, even if they don't use that word. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So another important caveat as well, that I'm going to cover the manifesto, the Green Manifesto, in one way, one form or another, from top to bottom. I really am going to read into the analysis. I may have already covered it by the time you read this, but I wanted to read from a different perspective, and that is from Byline Times, because many people know Byline Times is a newspaper, an organisation that is very much not one that is controlled by one person, that is completely crowdfunded by its subscribers and its viewers, and it's one that has brought a lot of good and highlighted a lot of news reporting that it's done. It's done a lot of great work throughout its time, and I'm glad that they've done a piece on this, because I really wanted to get their perspective on what they think about the policies and what they're implementing here on the Green Party. Now, obviously, at the time of this recording, the Green Party manifesto will have only just come out, so I haven't read it at the time of this recording, but obviously at the time of this recording, but I am very hopeful and very optimistic about what it says. Now, does this mean that more people are going to vote for Green? I hope so. Does this mean that this is something that could be pushed through? Possibly not, but I think it will show people, I hope that it will show people that they are serious about what their goals and their ambitions are, and being more clear about what their policies are to people. I think they've always been clear about them, but I think they're going to be even more clearer now that they have their manifesto out. And I really do hope that they get some MPs in the House, because I really think it's very important that there is a challenge from the left of Labour, and I'm not talking about those within the Labour Party. I'm talking about the Green Party that could get up to 4 seats, can be a problem and a nuisance for Labour government. Obviously, I'd like to see the Lib Dems as the opposition and the Conservatives wiped out. I think we would all like to see that, but I think it's really important for democracy that we see more parties having in. Yes, and I don't like reform, and I don't personally would not want them in the House of Commons, but if they manage to get a couple of seats at the expense of the Conservatives, if we have like 4 reform MPs, 4 Green MPs, and then a swathe of Liberal Democrats, and then maybe a small minority, I don't know, about 20 to 30, 50 Conservative MPs, I'd be down with that, because there is more parties, more people, and of course your independents as well. But there'll be more different parties, which means a bit more balanced. Obviously, this pushes the emphasis of us. We all want proportional representation, and I do think that is the direction we need to go. But I don't agree. I don't want reform MPs, if I'm personally honest. But if the general public want it, as the polls indicate, then they should have some MPs. But there is also a surge in the Greens. But even though the polls have not been showing it, and that is true, the polls have only shown between 6 to 8% of most MRI polls have been saying that's been what their percentage is around. The fact that they have been doing so well in local councils over the last several years, like over 700, that should speak volumes. Now, obviously, this is a big moment for them, and I really hope the Greens do push a lot of their voters. They really do push it, and I really hope that they do well at this general election. Now, it's just to say that they are perfect? Of course not. I've said this before and I've said this again. The Greens are not perfect. They have their problems, just like every other political party. But they, for me, are the closest, what I think, is to what people generally want. I do think that they offer a change, and a kind of change that people like myself can akin to. But Maybe some of you will disagree, but let's read what the Byline Times have had to say on the Green Party manifesto. So, the Green Party of England and Wales, not Scotland, because they're a separate party, has committed to push for nationalising the top 5 energy companies in the UK alongside a swathe of radical policies. In a manifesto, they say to promise real hope and real change this election. See that term, real hope? That's something people want. At this party's manifesto launch in Sussex Cricket Council, cited the outgoing MP Caroline Lucas' seat of Brighton Pavilion. Party leaders on Wednesday said they would push for water companies to be taken into public ownership, as well as most of the biggest retail energy firms and the rail network, the latter of which is also backed by Labour. The manifesto pitches the party considerably to the left of Sir Keir Starmer's party. Carla Denyer, the party's candidate for Bristol Central, a seat several pollsters predict she could take from Labour's Thangam Debbonaire, told activists and the press, "We plan to transform our economy. We can't go on with an economy when most people are working harder and yet getting poorer while inequality keeps growing." Our manifesto lays out a bold but simple plan to bring our water companies on all railways and the big 5 retail companies into public ownership. We want to end the scandal of rising bills, appalling service and profits going down shareholders' trousers. The party said it would fund an additional annual expenditure of £8 billion on the health service in the first full year of the next parliament, rising to £28 billion in total by 2030. Another £20 billion in spending over the next 5 years has put aside for hospital building and repair, funded by overhauling our tax system to make it fairer. The co-leader Carla Denyer said the plans would be funded by increasing taxes on the very richest and the top 100%, requiring them to pay a bit more into the pot. She suggested that there was a race to the bottom on tax, saying they think the 2 pence up here and a pence off here will impress voters, and they think that people will just cut it off. The Green parliamentary candidate continued, "This means even more devastating cuts to public service like the NHS that we rely on every day. People are telling us that they want something to be done about the state of our public service, about our broken system. They think it may just be a way to fix it. Voters in this country know that to mend broken Britain, we have to invest in our future." Greens had the courage to say that we will change the tax system to make it fairer and make this investment possible. In response to a question from Byline Times, co-leader Ramsey refused to put the left-wing label on the party, but said, "You can only look at our policies to see that the Green Party has a progressive policy reform. We're the ones saying that we will put the investment that is needed into our public health services. We're the ones that will stop water companies continuing to profit from failure when they should be investing in our water infrastructure. And I think those qualities are popular with the general public. I think most people don't think in terms of labels, but in terms of what is needed to tackle the root causes of problems in our society. We need that progressive voices in the next parliament to push Labour to be bolder." The manifesto also commits the party to making personal social care free at the point of use, similar to the NHS, alongside saying a categorical no to privatisation, in an apparent dig at the Labour shadow Health Secretary Wes Streams pledging to use spare capacity in the private sector to shrink waiting lists. The vast majority of the extra cash set aside for the NHS will come from increasing national insurance contributions for workers earning between £50,271 and £125,140. They currently pay a combined income tax rate and national insurance rate of 42%, while those earning above £125,000 pay a combined rate of 47%. The Greens, however, are proposing that earnings over £50,000 should be subject to 48% in tax, and earnings over £125,000 at 53%. So they will increase taxes there. Not going to BS you, they're going to increase taxes there. They're not dodging around you, they're saying, no, we're going to increase taxes in these places. We're not lying to you, we're going to be increasing your taxes because we need to make fundamental changes. We're not going to say, oh, we'll do a little bit here, a little bit there, we'll try and get around the corner. No, we're being flat out honest with you. We are going to raise taxes. Because if we don't be honest with you, what good? Because we want to be honest with you. That is what the Green Party are saying. As tax expert Daniel wrote recently for the non-profit tax policy associated think tank, the Green proposal will affect quite a lot of people. 50,270 is not that far above the average London salary. And by 2027-2028, 1 in 5 taxpayers and 1 in 4 teachers will be affected. So it will affect some people. I expect a majority of households will have someone who earns that figure at some point in their life. To say this is a tax on the rich is not particularly accurate. Yeah, so they are targeting some middle incomers here with these taxes. But would you rather they be straight with you, or would you rather or would you rather the government change the taxes when they're in their place? Because do you honestly think that Labour in government are not going to raise any taxes whatsoever on you? Can you honestly say that, hand on heart, that they are not going to raise any taxes on middle income earners at all? Can they categorically say that there will be none at all? Just remember that. It says here, some very wealthy people won't be affected much, not even at all. The big problem is with increasing national insurance is that it only affects wages. The retired don't pay it, investors don't pay it, landlords don't pay it. It's a funny choice of tax rise for the progressive political party. It's a bit odd, only because 3 years ago the Greens were proposing abolishing national insurance and rolling it into income tax. I'll have to read, obviously, when I read into the Green Party manifesto, be a lot clearer on what kind of what else they're doing. Because we're only reading them from what Byline Times are telling us as well. Speaking to Byline Times, Dan Nebel dubbed the policy amateur hour. Adrian Ramsey defended the policy, saying, we're looking into funding that will enable us to address the fact that energy and food prices have gotten so high through things like nationwide programs to insulate our homes, supporting farmers to produce more of our food locally. If people are able to access an NHS dentist and be part of the NHS, like the way that we talked about by putting that investment in, fewer people will be thinking about going private with the costs that are involved in that. So there will be financial benefits. On the national insurance proposal, the cost of that for somebody is on £55,000 a year. That would be an extra £5 a week, and people earning under £50,000 would not be affected. So we're asking modestly more. We think it's for big and low middle incomes and modest amounts that's affordable. And that we're going to enable us to invest in the health service, in the changes to a green economy that is going to benefit us all. So like I said, it's very, very important for me to highlight. I really want to make this point here, guys, that I have not read the manifesto at the time of this recorded of this video. So by the time this video may come out, I may have already read it. But I will say, obviously, the fact that, yes, they are going to hit the middle income earners. There is absolutely no question about that. But we had tax cuts before, so they cut them down before. Sorry about the noise in the background. We had tax cuts before. They cut them right down in the national insurance. So the Conservatives are, and the Greens want to push some of that back up. Now, don't get me wrong, people are struggling out there, and there is absolutely no question that some people will question this. But I want to I put this question to people who think this is a terrible idea for the Greens to raise taxes for those at £50,000 and above. The simple message I have to you is that, do you honestly think that there's not going to be any raises in taxes and whatsoever about the average voter from the Labour government? Do you honestly think that they're not going to do that? Again, I haven't seen the Labour Party manifesto, so that will obviously I have to have a look at that. But let's be clear, there are going to be taxes are going to be raised somewhere. There are going to be taxes raised somewhere, and I would rather the Greens say, listen, we're going to be raising taxes here, and then actually say that they're not going to raise taxes for the middle income, and then you find out if they were to get in a coalition or whatever, they end up doing so. So that's the way I would put it anyway. But what do you guys think? So let me know what you guys think about this. What do you think from Byline Times' perspective on this? What do you think about some of their proposals? A lot of nationalisation they said they're going to be doing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate shares across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.